There is no landfill site design that is safe. There is no landfill engineer, no company that constructs a landfill site that will guarantee it for any period of time. The liner for this landfill site was guaranteed for 2 years.
It's just a regular manufacturer. There are different liners made by all kinds of different manufacturers, and it has a 20-year warranty, but it's void if you put any chemicals in the dump. It's void. So what's a chemical? A battery is a chemical. A light bulb is a chemical. So in other words, there is no warranty. And if it leaks, you can't fix it. What are you going to do? Dig all the garbage out?
What do you say about the way people, just speaking about the people that were grouped together protesting, Aboriginals and non-Aboriginal people, and then when they were arrested? I mean, any comment about that? I mean,
yeah, I'm on record of being very concerned about that. I was extremely appalled at the process, the lack of consultation with county council on this process. Those are actions that were taken by the warden and by the CAO with consultation with legal staff. If we know that water should be protected, and we have source water protection legislation that's making its way through the whole process, then why are we continuing to allow a parallel process of landfill to go on top of Ontario's greatest asset of natural water? I mean, it's crazy.
Jen Menu. I was involved with Site 41. In my language, we introduce ourselves in a specific way. So, Jan and Dishnikas, Kinchisiperni and Dunjaba, Chija Kanugan. When I was at the site, there were non-native and native people who were gathered together. We stood shoulder to shoulder beside each other. Native people with non-native people, local people with farmers, environmentalists, students, all kinds of people. All of us were called there by something outside of ourselves, something that we felt was really important.
Because you're fine as long as you stay within the confines of the law. But as soon as you venture outside of that, you realize that you don't live in such a free society and democratic society that you thought you did, which is scary. And I don't just mean you go outside the law negligently, like you're going out to disobey the law because you're doing whatever. I mean you're standing up for rights that are protected constitutionally, that you should be able to do in a free and democratic country. So you start to ask yourself, do we really live in a free and democratic society? And I don't think so after this summer.
Fairly early on, after the Anishinaabe had built their longhouse, we had visitors from Peru, indigenous people there, who told us about the way that the mining companies are devastating their environment. And in fact, shortly after that, there was a massacre of peaceful protesters in Peru. And it made us feel proud to have some kind of involvement in their protests. We in no way compare what we've been through to the mortal danger that they expose themselves to when they protest. But that's all the more reason for us to make sure that our right to protest is preserved and respected, because unless you stand up and defend that right, you can't complain if you lose it.
map the entire northern peninsula, including Nottawasaga Bay, Lake Simcoe, right down to the Oak Ridge Moraine, and it runs right into Lake Ontario. It is very large, and a lot of people draw their water out of it.
This is not a dump of the old days. This is a state-of-the-art landfill site, and all municipalities that put landfill sites in the province of Ontario have to meet our stringent requirements, and it does require them to develop a state-of-the-art landfill.
Tony Gurgis is not popular in Springwater Township. He's the mayor of Springwater Township, and like every mayoral candidate, every political candidate in the last election promised to fight Site 41. Dump Site 41, and he was no exception. He promised that he would fight it, and said that he was opposed to it. Well, he got elected, and he got elected warden by his fellow councillors, and immediately changed his mind, and that did not go down well in Springwater Township at all. So there was already a groundswell of opposition against him.
I'd hate for us to get into conflict with the private sector over, let's say, an existing issue, which in this case is the landfill. Did somebody benefit from this? I hope so. They wouldn't do it if they didn't benefit from it. Was it corrupt? I don't think it was corrupt. I don't think there was a corruption of process. What I think there was just a gap in the public's commitment to not wanting landfill. And as I said earlier in our interview, it's taken a while for the politicians to catch up.
Right.
We were almost putting legislation in place to create an atmosphere of conflict instead of creating an atmosphere of consultation and consensus.
Well, I believe Tony is the biggest threat to the county of Simcoe, especially in waste management and our environment, that I've ever seen in people that have been fighting on this front. I just don't. I have no confidence in the He campaigned on the promise of stopping Site 41. As soon as he got in, he said, "Well, you never really said that." Yet we filmed it and taped it, so we have that in tape. If you want that part,
yep,
that would be helpful to you. There you go, because there it is.
In fact, I'm aware that the opponents of this site are using half-truths and mistruths to try and lead people to believe that there was a problem with the site or that I had made campaign promises. The fact is, the statements I made are incomplete in their estimation and what they've stated. What I said was that I have never voted for the site, which is factually true. I stand by the statements I made today, because Site 41 is not in Springwater Township. It's not for the use of Springwater Township residents. I was clear that I was running for the office of Springwater Township Mayor. At that level of government, we're not responsible for waste. I was later elected as the Warden of Simcoe County, a separate office, a separate chain of office, and a separate oath of office. In that capacity, I made the statements about Site 41, that it's a safe, responsible place for the waste, for the residents of North Simcoe to put their garbage.
I want to be clear on this one. Dump Site 41. I have been, I am now, and I will continue to oppose and vote against Dump Site 41.
Well, he's a politician, so as soon as the Simcoe County Council changed its mind and voted to suspend construction, voted for a moratorium on construction of the landfill site for a year so that all sorts of matters could be looked into. He did an about-face immediately and brought forward a motion to halt construction.